I think you should change the presentation. It's the next one. My name is not Filippo Bartoccioni. So, well, they're choosing the presentation. Actually, these are the fusion of two of the presentations you have in the program. We had accepted two papers, and these two papers were two different areas of the same project. So we thought that still both of them were approved and selected. We just make one entire presentation, so to cut time and to make things more understandable. Yes, so this is the first one. Actually, this will be a sequential of presentation. There will be two of them. We will start from retrospective time series analysis of the use of standard biological aortic valve implantation versus TAVI. So what we have done. Okay, let's start from the guidelines, because sometimes we forget about what the guidelines says to us. And as we can see, actually, the guidelines from United Kingdom, from NICE, is telling us when we should use TAVI. And it's telling us that TAVI should be used when the patient is not suitable for surgical aortic valve replacement, because then the evidence is adequate. While if we think about other categories, we see that it is inadequate. So we should not use it, TAVI, for normal patients. That's the solution. And there is a gray line between the gray area between these two areas. Yes, TAVI for a non-operable patient, standard procedures for people that can be operated normally. And this gray area is what we are seeing and what we want to analyze to see, to understand better what is behind this gray area and how can we understand it. So, at the end, the summary of the guidelines is that symptomatic severe aortic stenosis with absolute contraindication to cardiac surgery and high risk, if we see from the market point of view, there are two different markets. So actually, the TAVI patient should not influence the normal patients because we could not operate them anyway. And this is very important because what we want to understand, if we are putting the TAVI on the patient that should have actually a normal aortic valve replacement. So it's like opening a restaurant near a restaurant. If we open two restaurants near each other, they probably steal the patients between themselves. While if we open like a restaurant and a laundry service, they will not steal the patient themselves. So where are we? In theory, the markets are separate, or maybe in high-risk patients, just a little bit overlapping the gray area. This is very important because this will let us understand the situation later on. So we are talking also about money. This is the price of some years ago when we made the study, and we are comparing the price in Italy, in euros, of the two types of valves. The normal valves cost 3,000 euros plus taxes, and while the other types, at the moment we had only two types, but the concept is still there, was around 20,000 euros for each valve. So what we have done, we create a clinical pathway to analyze how we should treat this patient in our hospitals, to select them, so that the interventional cardiologist and the heart surgeon will not fight over the patients. Of course, we involve the cardiac surgeons, the interventional cardiologists. The cardiologists usually follow up the patient before or after, and the pharmacy and the clinical governance. So I'm here today representing the clinical governance, the management part of heart surgery, where the hospital is checking if we are spending too much in something that we actually should not use. So I'm a different point of view from a normal surgeon. So we create, of course, an internal policy to define when we should use TAVI or not, and which type of TAVI we should use. And we also checked when we could use it off labels. That's another case as well. So then we define a module that we should fill in before doing the procedures. In this part, there is, of course, error score, an indication of TAVI based on guidelines, but there is these important things. Before getting the operation, all three specialists, the cardiologist, the heart surgeon, the interventional cardiologist, should agree which one is the best procedure for each single patient. And they had to put their signature. So it's not a question of operating my patient or your patient, deciding together inside the hospital who should do it, based on guidelines. So we went after 1 year to check if they were doing actually this type of following these policies, if there was appropriateness or not. So we cross-checked all the databases we had, from the heart surgery, interventional cardiology database, the internal data for DRG, all the database of the hospital, pharmacy, and so on. And this was the adherence of the two departments. Most of the patients actually had this form completed, but some of them were missing some of the signatures. So actually, not all the patients were discussed in a multidisciplinary way. And some of them, especially in the interventional cardiology department, didn't even have this template. So they not discuss it, they didn't even follow the policy. So what we have seen is, okay, let's see from the economical point of view. The cost of the TAVI, of the valve, is 20,000 euros, as we saw before. And our reimbursement from the government for doing such type of operation, it includes, of course, salary of the surgeons, the salary for the nurse, electricity, and so on, is 20,760 euros. That makes a revenue to pay all these things except the valve of 760 euros. That means that the hospital is actually losing money every time we do a procedure like this. It's not the fault of the surgeons, it's not the fault of the hospital, it's just the reimbursement of the government. It's not feasible for this type of new technology that are so expensive. And we have to keep that in mind if we are managers of the hospitals. But if in interventional cardiologists, they do not record the patient because there is no specific voice for TAVI, or is a aortic valve replacement, or is valvuloplasty with a balloon. So most of the interventional cardiologists were describing this as expansion of a balloon in the patient. And they didn't talk about the valve. And the reimbursement price from the government is only 8,000 euros. So actually we were losing almost a lot of money. You can see like 15,000 euros each patient. And that can make a big difference in a hospital management system. So of course we had to review how they were codifying our patients so we could get more money from the government. So then we want to see our retrospective studies on our cases. So we start from 2000, from the year 2000, from January 2000, and we check all the months, all our valve replacement, aortic valve replacement with the biological valve. Because of course there is mechanical, it's usually a young one, so we should compare with the proper cohort. And you can see in 2008 we actually had access to TAVI, so actually the curves becomes two, with two ends. One is the green one, that is the normal aortic valve replacement with the biological valve, and the blue one actually is the TAVI and normal biological valve. So it's all our valve replacement with two techniques. This is the TAVI introduction time. Okay, time series means that we have a quantity on the y-axis and we have time on the x-axis. We made a joint point regression analysis to understand what was the trend and if there was angulation on the trend due to the fact that we introduced TAVI. So here you can see all the dots are how many aortic valve replacement we did in our hospital from January 2000 each month until February 2012. And we can see that there is an increase because the line is going up, but there is no angulation. There is no kicking point, okay? It's like a soft line going up. And if we try to explain this, we can think that, of course, they are increasing because we have more people that are older in Italy, so we increase the number of people that we can operate. It is normal that the line goes up. But actually, nothing actually interferes in this. So actually, if we go back to the previous graph, we are watching the red line and the blue line together, and there is no angulation. What if we take now the red line, okay, the red line and the green line? That is the normal biological aortic valve replacement. And we can see that in the first part is the same, of course. But what happens if we, after 2008, when the interventional cardiology start to implant TAVI? It doesn't change. And this is actually a good thing, because this means that we are actually appropriate, because we are not opening a second restaurant near our first restaurant. But what happens when in 2009 also heart surgery and the cardiac surgery department start to use TAVI? This is a good question. What would you expect? An angulation, yes or no? If there is an angulation, we should increase, stabilize, or go down. Okay, if you are talking about independent market, we should expect an increase, because we have customers from two different types of activities. Maximum plateau, but we would never expect a decrease, because a decrease means that they are taking the people from the same market, so they are opening a new restaurant near the other one. Let's have a look. And the time series analysis shows with a significant interval that we have an angulation of decreasing normal valve prosthesis. That means that maybe there is an appropriate use of valve. Some of this TAVI, from the statistical point of view, I'm not talking about Gulnur, I'm not talking about Alexei, I'm not talking about the single patients, I'm talking statistically. I can tell that the trend is decreasing, why should not decrease? Okay? And this is the second presentation, was actually after the break, but we fused them so that it's logical to keep ahead. And so how many TAVI should we use in 1 year? Case study on inappropriate use of TAVI. So how many TAVI, as a hospital manager, shall we plan to buy for the next year? So I can put in the budget and not go out from the budget. That's clear. So we start from the history of the first part of the job. And you still see the red line, and you see that we made a linear regression forecasting. So if nothing happens today, we should, well today, say in 2012, we were expecting 147 cases a year based on our experience in our center. Of course, my center can be 147, his center can be 240 because it's my center. But this is good because I'm targeting and tailoring the answer to my center. That's what I want to do because I'm manager of this center, not the other one. We see the same thing, and we see that actually the regression analysis, there is a difference between the black line and the green line. And this is the quantity of inappropriateness. As I told you, I don't know the name of the patient, but I can tell you that both departments maybe exceed in using the TAVI. And the amount is this, between the forecasting and what we actually got. So if this is the inappropriate area, because of course if I have TAVI, I will have more patients in, and that's normal. So actually, from the black line to the blue line, it's normal. It's acceptable, it's appropriate. The problem is below the black line and the green line. So if we go next, if that was inappropriateness, this is the appropriate ratio in my hospital. It's 21/140. So if this is the appropriate ratio, and it's 140/21 that we just saw, so the ratio is every 6,6 normal valve, I should implant 1 TAVI. This is simple mathematics, nothing special. So every 6-7 biological valve, I should implant 1 TAVI. And now from this, we're actually going away from my hospital, and we go to other hospitals because we can actually compare this ratio. But if this ratio is correct, I just invert the numbers. So I say, okay, next year I was planning 147 cases for 2012, and the appropriate ratio is 6,6. That means that the appropriate number of TAVI is 22,2. Maybe 22 patients, maybe 23 patients. I don't know the name of this patient. I only know approximately by statistical analysis how many they should be. Okay, between the two departments together. I'm not making differences between, because we are working as a team from the interventional cardiologists and the heart surgeons. So, this is the follow-up. This is the same picture as before, and we are making our forecasting. So now the colors are different, but the green line is the previous red line, the blue one is still blue, and the purple is actually new data. And we go, so here is when we understand there was an appropriate use of TAVI. So we start to control, put pressure on the surgeons, on the interventional cardiologists, and say, are you really using the guidelines? Are you actually following the guidelines? Just putting some pressure. It happens, managers usually put pressure. What happens? Happens that the next year, with the clinical governance intervention, with the monitoring, we actually go back to what we are expecting, even more. We went back on track. Can you say that? We went back on track. And it's quite good. Because now we are appropriate. What happens if next year, see that now we are appropriate, we change and we start to work on neurology as managers. And we forget about TAVI, about appropriateness use, guidelines. It goes back down again. How can be that possible? So it went just down. And that's interesting. I will leave it for a few seconds so you can actually have a look out of it. How can we change the number of implantations suddenly from one year to another on normal biological valve just because somebody is stressing you out to check the guidelines, to make the meetings, to discuss it together? I'm changing the court of the patient? No. I didn't touch it. I'm just working on one single subject, meeting together, discussing with the guidelines in your hands. So let's go ahead. And we can see that this time interventional cardiologists have 91% of this model discussed, and 9 with some missing signature. And heart surgery now looks better too, it's 70% with 15%. So 85% of heart surgeons operation and 99, let's say 100% is discussed by interventional cardiology. So actually they're discussing the cases. And this is when it goes up and we go back to appropriate use. And so concluding, what we can conclude? We can conclude that if we are we are following the guidelines, we are doing our job, that we are doing the best for the patient, that we are using the appropriate tools, appropriate technology on the appropriate patient, not putting the patient at risk, but actually we are also starting to change the number of per cases, so we can actually save money. In the previous years, we made 55 cases, and now we are dropping to 23. And that means that we save 32 normal valves each year. Of course, we are not operating the patient. We didn't put the normal valve as 3,000 errors. So actually, we are saving 20,000 errors each patient that is operated appropriately. And that makes 640,000 euros in 1 year. This money can go to increase the salaries, can be to invest in technology, in innovation, following the guidelines. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Sorry for keeping you out from this wonderful city in Astana. Thank you very much.
Any questions, colleagues? I have a question.
Sure.
So, if we start to compare the TAVI program and the surgery with other areas of business, maybe we can compare it with the fishing. So, if you use a white net, so you catch only the big fish, and during several years you grab all the big fish, And now we're observing the more precise fishing with the smaller
Fish.
for smaller fish, yes, but also which can be used for cooking. So, as I understand now, the European countries observe the lack of patients with significant severe aortic stenosis, with horrifying aortic stenosis, which was easily catched during the first part of first decade of 2000 years. So maybe we can explain the decrease of both biological implantations and the TAVI with the common decrease of severe aortic stenosis in the population. What's your opinion?
Well, if we go to the retrospective analysis, actually it's not decreasing. It's increasing. We saw it with can we back up the slides, please? We can see that they're actually increasing. And there is no declining. What is declining is not the number of aortic stenosis, is the number of people using the biological valve. So the point is that actually I'm trying to use a device. In the beginning I had a lot of patients who were not operable. But we know that people with aortic stenosis that are not operable, they die after 3 years. And if I operate all of them, then I don't have all these cases. So the number of TAVI should decrease, not increase. Because I operate everybody and the other are dead, actually.
Okay. Any questions? Good.
Okay, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker, Dr. Piotr Lipin from Moscow, from National Scientific Center for Cardiology, and he presents TAVI in